Little Dan the Drummer Boy, a Civil War story by Romare Bearden. The workday was long and hard for slaves on cotton plantations. When the cotton was high, everyone was in the fields, picking and baling it from sunup to sundown. On the Hollis plantation, when the day's work was over, little Dan always came to listen to Mr. Ned play his drum. Mr. Ned said that his father had given him the drum and taught him how to play it. He said this drum came from a faraway place called Africa, way across the water. And each day Mr. Ned taught little Dan drumming, just the way he had learned from his father. One Sunday, Dan borrowed an axe and went in the woods, where he worked all day making his own drum. When he finished, Dan stretched a pig hide over the top and pulled it taut with the heavy twine used to bind the cotton bales. When he showed the drum to Mr. Ned, the old man said, "Dan, you done fine. You got a real good drum there." Dan tried to imitate all the sounds he heard around him, the rhythm of people singing, the cawing of the birds, the clacking of the leaves as they were fanned by a passing wind. Dan even stayed out in the rain to catch the pattern of rain and the heavy crash of thunder. One day, Dan noticed there was hardly anyone in the fields, and he heard a loud, galloping noise down on the main road. Maybe, he thought, this was something to play on the drum. Suddenly, a long line of horsemen in gray uniforms swept down the road through clouds of brown dust. Soon after the strange horsemen passed, people from the plantation appeared, scurrying along the road with bundles on their backs. Dan ran up to the big house where the master lived and found many black men in blue uniforms. What could have happened? Dan wondered. One of the men in uniform, whom Dan heard some of the other men call Captain, came over to Dan. "What is your name, little boy?" he asked. Dan said, "My name is Dan." "Where are your mother and father?" Dan said, "I hear tell they were sold away when I was most young. I just belong here." "Well, son," said the captain, "you don't belong here anymore. You are free now." Dan asked, "What did that mean?" "It means you can go anywhere you like. We've been fighting a civil war against the Southern slave masters, the rebels, for over 3 years, since 1861. Last year, President Lincoln declared all slaves free. The rebels don't want slavery to end, so they keep fighting, but we just beat them back. Many of these soldiers were slaves just like you. Now, they're fighting for freedom." Now Dan was confused. If he could only find Mr. Ned. After the soldiers gave him some food, he decided to follow them as they marched away. Somewhere along the way, he might see Mr. Ned. The soldiers came to know little Dan. One of them, named Scipio, said He had a little boy the same age as Dan. Scipio said, "One day I'm going back to where I came from and find him." The soldiers came to a place where a large engine was waiting, snorting steam and thunder. It reminded Dan of the dragons in the stories Mr. Ned used to tell him. Dan was so frightened that Scipio lifted him onto his wide shoulders and carried Dan into the train. He said, "Dan, be brave. You're the mascot now for Company E." The trees, the cotton fields, the houses all whirled by until the train stopped at a place where there were rows of tents. Scipio told Dan it was called a bivouac area. "We'll drill here a while," he said. Dan watched the soldiers drill every day. Often he would creep behind a rock and see the cannoners fire round balls that burst in clouds of fire almost a mile away. In the evening, around the campfires, the soldiers enjoyed listening to little Dan play his drum. Very late one night, the men were awakened by the sharp sound of the bugle. Some men shouted orders. "Everyone up! Fall in! Now, march!" The men marched through the night. Dan ran along, but in the darkness no one noticed him. By daybreak Dan saw his friends of Company E lined up. The woods ahead of them exploded with gunfire and cannon. When Scipio saw Dan, he cried out, "Boy, you get away from here. Go back over that hill and wait till we come for you." Dan climbed up a tree. He saw a long line of gray horsemen heading right to where Company E was posted. The same kind of men he had seen on the main road of the old plantation. Dan knew Company E was in danger. Dan wanted to do something, anything to help his friends. He could see the gray cavalry rushing toward him. Dan had to act quickly. He remembered the sound of the cannon at the camp. Dan smacked the drum hard with his palms, but it wasn't the right sound. "Hurry, hurry," a voice inside him cried. Dan broke off 2 sticks and hit the drum sharply with them. Smack, smack. "Oh, that's better. Just a bit sharper." Crack, crack. Yes, this was it. This was the sound of the cannon the men called 5-pounders. The lead officer of the cavalry heard this sound. He raised his arm to halt the charge. "Turn back, boys," he cried. "We're riding into a heap of cannon. We'll attack down that far road." And with that, the men in gray turned and galloped away. The soldiers in Company E ran, cheering toward little Dan. Big Scipio took Dan in his arms. "Dan," he said, "you and your drum surely saved us." When the battle was over, General William T. Sherman himself asked to see little Dan. "Dan," the general said, "I learned of your heroism today. Also what good use you made of that drum of yours. Now, Dan, I want you to be a drummer in our Army's drum corps. And listen, Dan, you play your drum in your own way." And that's exactly what little Dan did.